Hello, everyone. How are you doing? This is Daryl Guberman, CEO of Guberman PMC LLC, a quality consulting firm here in Connecticut. We have a very, very special guest here today. We have Miss Jennifer Homendy, the chair of the NTSB, National Transportation Safety Board. She's having problems with Boeing relinquishing some data on the Alaskan airline. Let me give you a little bit of experience on my end, Jennifer, so you can benefit from this. Again, my name is Daryl Guberman. I'm the CEO of Guberman PMC LLC, a quality consulting firm here in Connecticut. Experience, we have 40 plus years in quality and manufacturing and aerospace, medical implants, medical materials, printing, and plastic distribution, where we dealt with every industry. Jennifer, this video today is about Jennifer Homendy, chair of the NTSB, gets an education concerning Boeing withholding information. Yes, withholding information. You're going to find out a lot, Jennifer. I'm going to put you down, and we're going to bring you back in before the video is over. In 2013, Jennifer, I gave a speech at the American Society for Quality. At the time, I'm going to do this very slowly, because they use a lot of obfuscation, distorting things, saying things, trying to make a smoke and mirrors deal in quality and manufacturing and in our government. So anyway, I gave a speech at the American Society for Quality. A Region 3 director, Mr. David Levy, was there. Okay, David Levy. He was a Region 3 director, and at the time, the American Society for Quality, which sat as a member on the American National Standards Institute, you'll find that out very shortly. I'm going to give you the litany of history here and not go too much into detail. I don't want to confuse the issue and make it murky. But he at the time, ASQ, owned the American National Accrediting Board 50%. And also, you have the factor that ANSI owned the American National Accreditation Board 50%. As you can see, he said, there is no restriction on you doing business unaccredited or accredited. And as I said before, ANAB has no problem with what you are doing. In fact, we support you, sir. Jennifer, I didn't need their support. I felt independence was good. We've heard about the insidious things that Boeing and Lockheed do. And we've tried to warn Lockheed when they were being taken over by Communist China in 2015 by their International Accreditation Forum membership via ANSI, okay, and ANAB. Let me continue on. In 2016, we received a nice little email because we were doing a lot of videos on the improprieties of Boeing. We tried to warn people about this. So we've been warning people for the last, 9 years? And nobody's listened until a plane's going to crash. Trust me when I tell you. And you take a look at this. We were invited by Randy Doherty. At the time, he was a technical advisor. But in 2015, when he was the vice president of ANAP between 2009 and 15, but in 2015, he gave over leadership to the Communist Chinese national Zhao Jinwu, who has been involved with our quality since 1994. And Zhao Jinwu is mandated by his country of origin, Communist China, to take our data through the China National Intelligence Law, Article number 7. And mind you, too, he was also the principal on the IF tax report, as he is here in 2016 as a technical advisor. So we were invited by him as well, Jennifer. But how in good conscience, as a proud American, could I possibly join an organization like ANSI or ANSI, ANAP, or the IF, since I was, you could see that you could join IAF or ANAP. How could I do that as a proud American? I believed in independence, not communism. I don't know what's going on here, but sit down, relax, and here we go. ANSI is a private, not-for-profit, non-governmental corporation that has both federal agencies and corporations on its board. And by the way, again, this video is about Jennifer Homendy, chair of the NTSB, gets an education concerning Boeing withholding information. You have ANAB sitting on ANSI's board. You have the factor that in 2018, ANSI took over complete control over ANAB. And also, they sat on the IAF, which at that time was being watched over by Communist China. You have memberships like FBI, CDC, FAA, Boeing, Lockheed, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, to name a few companies and federal agencies that sat on ANSI. So it was very good pickings for the Chinese in the China National Intelligence Law, Article number 7. Are you still grabbing that? You have 7 different quality registrars that sit over by ANAB that they use ANAB's logo. They are accredited by ANAB. Is there any confidence in the integrity and quality of the certifications these organizations dish out? You can see it by Boeing, and you can see it by Lockheed. Lockheed Martin. I have to tell you this, dear Jennifer. Lockheed Martin, after their 801st F-35, they're still producing crappy aircraft. Or as Patrick Shanahan said in an interview when he was, As Patrick Shanahan said in an interview when he was Deputy Secretary of Defense, when asked about the F-35 program, he said, excuse my German or French or whatever it is, it's fucked up. Well, not only is that fucked up, but also the aircraft is. Now, ANSI ANAB are underwriters, which means they take full legal responsibility for that door popping off because they are underwriters. Here's a federal contract that is issued by it's a standard operating work order by the State Department, okay? And this was issued in 2018, Jennifer, when the ANSI ANAB and IAF, they sat on the IAF and it was being controlled by Communist China. So Jennifer, the State Department invited the Communist China in. You could keep on smiling. I don't know. Is that necklace that you have on made in China? Oh, well, isn't that tender? Maybe it's got a radio signal going back to them. And here is the actual contract. I gave a part of it that says ANAB is an underwriter for the International Accreditation Forum. Okay, can you imagine that? By them being an underwriter, they not only take systematic quality issues in hand, but they also get the quality of the product, which means they must get part of the lawsuit that's going after the Alaskan Air, without a doubt. Let's go to Boeing. Boeing. Here it is. Beautiful, isn't it? In 2002, I apologize for the small print, but in 2002, they did a supplier bulletin. Okay, here it is, supplier bulletin. Okay, 2002 July. It basically says this. I will read it to you. Okay, it says this: BQMS survey requirements, Boeing Quality Management Services survey requirements. An on-site Boeing survey of suppliers' quality system, if need be. Are you listening to this? Our preference is to deal with proven suppliers and excellent quality performance and not have to do on-site quality system audits. Now, for 22 years, Jennifer, they basically said this. Let me break this down for you. Here is an AS9100 certificate. They basically said, send this in, supplier, as long as you're ANAB accredited. Send us your part in, or parts, and Boeing doesn't have to send any type of inspection to you. In fact, we have a memo here from 2008 that ANSI ANAB and their registrars did not do proper. In fact, this is what it says: ANAB investigation of complaints from Boeing and other aerospace OEMs. So there was a problem in 2008 with the certificate that they were taking as an example of superb quality from their suppliers. And here we go. Here's the pièce de résistance. In this article from 2009, I apologize, I will show you in red the actual important parts. And here you go. It states this: the FAA increased authority of Boeing's Commercial Airlines Division to self-certify. And you talk about the MCAS system, okay? Now, this has been happening since 2009, which makes, if you look at David Calhoun back there, in 2009, he was on the board of directors of Boeing. So when he was made the CEO, he actually became an FAA administrator. If you really want to know the truth, they don't have to give you any information because they are the FAA. In fact, everybody complains about the MCAS system, you know, Ethiopian Air, Indonesian Air, and they didn't have to tell the FAA because they were given FAA authority. And here it goes. New system allows Boeing employees to perform tasks on behalf of the FAA. That include oversight of testing and product standards, along with, here it is, this is MCAS, along with certification of aircraft technologies and new aircraft designs. Isn't that a tender moment in a crashing society? And then you have Boeing that sits. You have Boeing that sits on ANSI's board, right over by the accreditation body, as I've showed you, right over by ANAB, that they demand. And here they demand it on their supplier portal. And here's the supplier portal. Must be ANSI, ANAB, or international equivalent. To make matters sad, while they were an FAA regulator, they still are. That's why they're not relinquishing you any information. Let's face facts. Here it is. They were fudging documentation 2017. In fact, most recently at their Bell Boeing composite facility, the DOJ gave them an $8.1 million fine for not recording proper times, temperatures, and pressures. I think that the article said that. Actually, it was kind of fudging documentation again. Now, did they learn this type of technique from the FAA? They're FAA regulators. They must be. On top of it, here's a sweet one. The FAA sits by Boeing on ANSI's board. You also have the Department of Transportation. I'll put you down, Jennifer. There you go. The Department of Transportation. You also have a wonderful one, the Department of Justice. And for those people who are suing Boeing, you've got to watch out because they're in bed together with the Department of Justice. Be careful. I will say this, though, to those people who are suing Boeing from Alaska Air. My heart goes out to the ones from Indonesian Air and also Ethiopian Air. I would open that case again and utilize me. Just remember this. Boeing can have 1,000 attorneys, the best of the best, Yale graduates, Harvard, whatever it takes. But you know what they don't have? They don't have Daryl Guberman. The truth will always win out. The truth will always win out. Another one is this, Jennifer. This is a hilarious one. The FBI sits on ANSI's board, okay? And it's funny. They even signed a contract with ANSI ANAB for laboratory certification. I've got that. I have that. The funniest thing is that we have Mr. Christopher Wray. He came in from Washington just like you did. And he says, Jennifer, under many, many depositions, what are we going to do, Chris? What are we going to do about China? He says, oh, yes, we must maintain vigilance over China. Yet his agency sat on ANSI when they were being watched over by China. And guess what? He looks good in a suit, but behind closed doors, this is him. Yes, this is him. And as you can see, I quoted him down below. The federal agency is corrupted. And now the Department of Defense also sits there. So Jennifer, I want to give you this education because we have so many characters up here, okay? You have James Tassett, 801 aircraft, and the 801st one is still, he's producing crap. You got David Calhoun. My personal feeling is that he's better with numbers than he is with people and product, because we could see that with Boeing's failure. I have offered my services to Boeing because if it's not Guberman helping them out and his team, don't get going on Boeing. And I say this again emphatically, Jennifer. Boeing can have 1 million freaking best attorneys, but they do not have Daryl Guberman on their side. 203-556-1493 or Daryl, TQRS at yahoo.com. I think I gave you enough education.